Gen AI and AI requirements today have become the norm, right? Everybody is looking for it. And when we look at generative AI requirements and the AI requirements, one of the things that are required is how can they be more agile and scalable when you move from POC to production. How do you look at the right model? How do you look at the most optimized model for you to run the Gen AI workloads, right? Or the LLMs, the SLMs, or the mid-sized models, right? There are a lot of infrastructure complexities when you want to run the Gen AI workloads. There's high compute requirement. The network has to be of ultra low latency. Data and storage, you need high throughput, IOPS, all of that piece, right? There's security and compliance requirements as well. At some places where where the requirements are pretty huge, you would typically want to look at a completely new architecture that could be liquid cooling based, that could have other requirements as well. There are multi-size models that the organizations want to utilize as well, right? So how do you choose the right infrastructure? Basically, the infrastructure becomes the foundation on which the Gen AI workloads will run. They will give you the right value for the investments that you have done, right? So with cognitive infrastructure, what we have done is we have looked at all of these requirements. We have created blueprints, we have created architectures, we have created t-shirt sizes that can be utilized by organizations who are looking to utilize, or who are there in their Gen AI journey in different phases on that. They don't have to start everything from scratch, because we have done all the testing, we have looked at all the requirements. We have looked at what could be the potential pitfalls in that, because when you have to run the heavy Gen AI workloads, whether it is for training or for inferencing, you have to look at the infrastructure foundation from a different lens. And that is where cognitive infrastructure comes into the picture, and it helps the customers basically to choose the right and the most optimized model or the infrastructure foundation that they can utilize for their Gen AI journey. Well, that's a good question, Nick. As you move deep into your or you progress into your Gen AI journeys, we always tell the organizations and the customers that you need to look at automation and optimization from a very different lens. First one is automation, where you have to look at how do you bring automation into the management, provisioning, running of the Gen AI workloads in the most efficient manner. For this, you will probably have to utilize a third-party tool, or you'll have to utilize some of the accelerators and IPs built by us. The bottom line is that in the complexity that exists in the market today, you would need to pick up the best one according to your needs, and hence automation is required in terms of making sure that the resources are being managed efficiently. Cost optimization is another big area. It's no secret that if you have to run Gen AI workloads at scale, cost is a big factor, and it's a make or break factor in terms of how do you look at Gen AI into your organization, and also a make or break factor in terms of how many POCs would actually move to scale. Because when you start looking at the cost factor in terms of running it at scale, then you start to realize that, or you start to balance out in terms of the value that it is bringing versus the cost it is incurring on that, and how much of it is tangible and how much of it is intangible. So running the Gen AI workloads in the most cost optimized fashion becomes very easy. Otherwise, the cost will just go off the roof when you move into scale. So looking at FinOps, for instance, becomes very critical. We've been doing it with some of our customers in terms of looking at FinOps from a different lens for Gen AI. Also, when you are taking the Gen AI infrastructure, let's say you are looking at a private AI, for instance, then you would need to look at utility-based models so that you can consume it in the pay-as-you-go kind of a mode. Or if you are going into the hybrid mode, then how do you make sure that the entire model is in a pay-as-you-go mode on that? So there are different combinations, permutations and combinations in which you have to look at cost optimization on that. But one thing is clear, that the optimization is not the end goal. It's a journey. So when you are going into the Gen AI journey, the optimization has to go in hand at each and every stage, so that you are able to make sure that while you're providing value to the customers or the end users within your organization or outside of your organization, you are also able to do this in the most optimized fashion, which is not hurting your investments in any fashion. We've been a regular there, and there are three reasons why we believe that this is a very, very important event for anyone who's looking forward to the infrastructure, the operations, strategies, and more so in the Gen AI and the AI era. One, because of course we'll get to hear from all the experts and meet them as well from Gartner. But the second point is all the organizations, all the customers, other organizations would be there whom we can interact with, and we can make sure that each of us or both of us can actually learn from each other. There are some things that they are doing, there are some things that we are doing. How can we bring value to them? How can they share something and maybe make us better as well on that. The third piece is, of course, in terms of meeting or looking at the thought leadership, what is happening next. Gen AI is a vast space, and everybody is doing something on that. And this year's theme is basically AI based. And we are looking forward to interacting with everyone, making sure that what we are doing reaches the right ears, but as well as we hear from everyone what they are doing and combining the two for the best value.